Welcome to the Swirl to Investment News Network. News by and for the Swirl to Investment community. Hope you enjoy. All right, how's everybody doing tonight? Um, I wasn't planning on going live tonight, but with all that's happening and going on, and with all the black femicide that's happening, I don't know what's going on. It seems like it's just, one story after the other. And I'm going to do a recap on Ashley Jana, okay? The internet, her story went viral. A content creator that was unalived by her fiance, allegedly, okay? Don't look good. I think he did it. Okay, most people do, but we weren't there. So, got to get the information out there. Once they do the investigation and weigh the evidence, okay? There's rumors flying about this story, okay? But a young lady went to Tanzania with her fiance around her birthday and was proposed to, supposed to get married, and somehow lost her life. And there's like a mystery, okay? And it don't look good for the guy. It don't. But we got people out there that are celebrating her death, unfortunately. Okay? We got people out there going in on divestment. Okay? And, having a field day with this. And trying to push forth a narrative that this is what white men do. Okay. There are evil men in all groups of people. Okay. Unfortunately, there's evil people. And from what we see in the data, black women are the most vulnerable. Black women suffer the most domestic violence than any other group, statistically. Okay. And they're unalived more than any other group, statistically. Okay. And that's the problem we have. And it's not just a black community problem, it's an American problem where we all need to fix it, right? Can we fix it? What's going on? What's leading to all this domestic violence? Okay? But before I get into that, let me do a recap on the news story. I'm pretty sure everybody's heard this story, but if you haven't, okay, I'm going to do the news clipping, okay? And after that, I got 3 other stories of black femicide, okay? That just happened recently, all right? Something's going on, and it's very disturbing. It's very depressing, okay? And really, this ain't the type of show I like to do. I don't. I don't like to cover this stuff, but I think I have to. Okay? And I'm going to be brutally honest tonight. Okay? Some people might get angry. I'm not trying to offend nobody, but I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be honest with the stats. I'm going to be honest with what's going on, and I'm going to give you my opinion. I'm not going to sugarcoat this. Okay? And nobody should. When we have young women losing their lives, and it keeps getting worse every year, something's not right. And who's at fault? Okay? But anyway, and I say as society, it's our problem. And we got to find a way to fix it or do something, because what's going on now is not working. But anyway, let me show you the story. But anyway, for fair use. Okay, let me put this up here. Okay, this is strictly for news reporting tonight. To learn about these unfortunate cases of the women that suffer from domestic violence. Okay, and as we know, black women are the most, unprotected, most disrespected. Malcolm X said it back in the day, and it's still true today, unfortunately. Okay? And until all men make it their responsibility, I don't think it's ever going to get fixed. Okay? But women have to be, have their due diligence. Okay? Black women need to be more aware and more cautious. Okay? Of who they're with, who they meet. And look, every relationship's a risk, and most women aren't getting unalived because they're in a relationship, but it does happen more often than it should. Okay, and I can make this channel exclusively about black femicide if I wanted to. There's enough material every day. I could pull it up. Something's wrong. Okay, but anyway, let me show this news story, do a little recap.
Growing questions tonight surrounding the death of a lifestyle influencer from New Jersey found dead while on vacation in Zanzibar just days after her engagement. And Shana, the family is desperate for answers, understandably here.
Yeah, absolutely. Ashley Robinson, known as Ashley Jana on Instagram, was just on a 31st birthday trip with her boyfriend turned fiance. And of course, by all accounts, it was a beautiful fairy tale that quickly turned into a nightmare. Initial reports claiming that the influencer took her own life, which is something the family simply says couldn't be true, and they're looking for answers. Beloved social media influencer Ashley Robinson, with a mass following of over 120,000 followers, died suddenly during a birthday trip to Zanzibar, Tanzania. The 31-year-old with roots in South Jersey was on a romantic trip with her boyfriend turned fiance.
Ashley was really a beacon of light. She was a very happy-go-lucky girl. She was very excited to go on this birthday trip, which of course later turned into a proposal.
The couple seen in one of her final posts on Instagram with fiance Joe McCann popping the question. The fairy tale story, though, quickly becoming a nightmare for her family back in the Delaware Valley, receiving the worst news a parent can receive.
The family is demanding answers on their daughter's deaths.
Fox 29 caught up with TMZ's Charlie Neff, who sat down with the social media star's family.
This is in light of local police in Zanzibar claiming that their initial reports said that Ashley took her own life while on a birthday trip in Zanzibar. And the parents are saying that is not the Ashley we know. She is not one that would do something like that and harm herself.
Neff telling Fox 29 initial reports indicated there was an argument between the couple just hours after this engagement post.
Police also did indicate that there was some kind of argument that transpired between Joseph and Ashley, where they both had to be separated in a hotel. They had different rooms, and then Joseph had claimed to the parents that she was found unconscious in her room.
Robinson's family claims their daughter's fiance called them back in the States.
They did get a call from Joseph when Ashley was first in the hospital 11 hours after an incident happened. They said then, at that time, Joseph had explained to them that she was stable, seemed to be okay.
Okay. All right, and that's some of the reporting we're getting. Apparently they had an argument, had to be separated, then she's unalive. It don't look good at all. And then, I guess, according to what they're saying, okay, I'm not saying that's what happened, but listening to this news report, saying that he didn't get with the family till several hours later and said that she's okay. I don't know, but it don't look good. You know, when you have a argument or a dispute and one person comes up unalived, it don't look good at all. Okay, and you know, I think the guy did it. Okay, but I could be wrong. There's a possibility, but from what we got so far, it don't look good at all. Okay, but anyway, let's continue, and I'll give some more of my opinion on this. Okay.
And then the parents later got another phone call saying that she had passed.
Now more questions remain as her loved ones, her followers from miles away, want to know what happened to Ashley.
They claim they have not heard or spoken to Joseph since her passing, and they find it very, very odd. They told me that Ashley was very excited to go on this trip. She was a beacon of light. In no way did she ever have any signs of mental health issues.
Now, I did speak to Ashley Robinson's mom over the phone today. She says the family is working diligently with getting in touch with the local officials in Tanzania and, of course, the embassy.
Okay, I'm going to stop it right here. Okay, so there's a recap on the story, okay? We all know about what happened to Ashley Janae, okay? And there are people out there that are celebrating her being unalived. Okay, saying that, you know, rest in your preference and that's what you get. And some people are just purely evil about this thing. Okay, and I'll show you some comments I pulled up. There's many more. Okay, this is off a channel that, you know, is pro-black, anti-swirl or anti-divestment. The irony of getting unalived by the same group of men you did previously for put on a pedestal. Okay, all right. But what he's saying is it's ironic that she's getting unalived by the men she put on a pedestal. Okay, got 81 likes from that. People like that comment. And then this one, rest in preference. Okay? And then down here, divestors, white men treat us better. The Grim Reaper, you don't say. So, these people are having a field day with it. It's almost like they're happy it happened. Oh, there you go. That's what happens when you divest. That's what black women see. And they make it sound like you get with a white man and it's going to be total disaster. Okay? And I'm going to break it down in stats, okay, of what's really going on. Okay, I'll do that later in the show. But let's get to these stories. Okay? And then, okay, I showed you that, those comments. And I got a question asked to Roadrunner. Okay? And why this person asked me this, I don't know. I pretty much said I don't believe in celebrating anybody's, you know, loss of life. Okay? Oh, that's the one I just showed. Okay? But this person said, okay, question for Roadrunner. If Joe is found guilty of deleting his fiancée, Ashley, do you think he should go to jail? Well, yeah. Why would I not think he should go to jail for unaliving Ashley, okay? Ashley Janae. Why would I not want him to go to jail? If he did it, I want him to suffer the consequences. And in my opinion, you took an innocent life, you should forfeit yours. Okay, that's where I stand on it. I don't stand by him because he's a white guy. I don't do that crap. Okay, I don't worship a skin tone. You're wrong, you're wrong. Okay? I don't know, and I've said that over and over. And no, you could go through all my videos. I've never celebrated anybody's demise. Okay? But anyway, they got to ask these questions because they don't know. Trying to catch me in a gotcha because when I answer it would be like, okay, well, this person that's a divestor or connected to divestors was happy that something happened to this person. You know, I know the game that's being played, okay? I don't celebrate anybody's demise. I don't want to see anybody deleted. I don't. Even the people that harass me online, okay? I don't, no, okay? And unless you're trying to unalive somebody, I don't want to see nobody deleted, okay? And the only time I even celebrate somebody, you know, being deleted, if it's like somebody like Hitler, somebody that are a serial unaliver that's taking innocent life left and right. Now, if someone like that passes on, I'm happy because I don't want to see other people lose their life. That would be the only time. Okay? I don't, you know, I don't want to see anybody harmed because of who they date or who their preference is or none of that crap, okay? And it's pretty sad that people are happy that happened to her. Why? Because she didn't pick the black man? Why? Because she wanted the soft life? What we should be focusing on is a young black woman's life has been taken. An innocent life. And that shows me when people celebrate that, that don't look good. And it worries me. Black femicide going to happen more often? Okay, and then this question this idiot gave me again. Do you think it was wrong when Kevin Samuels passed away and Kobe Bryant passed away? There were people choose to celebrate their demise. And here's my opinion on that, okay? I did not celebrate either one of these guys' life. Now, Kobe Bryant, I don't know what the only thing I followed on Kobe Bryant is I watched him play basketball. A great basketball player. Okay, I know he cheated on his wife and that was wrong. He did some wrong things, but I didn't wish him to lose his life. Okay? Kevin Samuels, I didn't celebrate when he passed. Okay? Kevin Samuels was an idiot, okay? With all due respect, he gave out horrible information to black women, degrading black women, telling black women to settle for less, and to be with men that weren't at their level, which is dangerous and which can harm black women, okay? And then telling single mothers that since they had a child out of wedlock, that the first man they see, they got to just give it up to him. That's basically what the guy was saying. Crap like that. I didn't like his content. I didn't like what he was saying. It was destructive and harmful, but I didn't celebrate when he passed. Okay, so does that answer your question? But people got to ask me that stuff because they assume because I'm a white guy, I wouldn't side with white men. I don't like black women. No, I'm not. If Joe did it, hey, God help him. He needs to go to the depths of hell, in my opinion. Okay? All right. Now, let me remove that comment. Okay, I'm going to show you some more videos. Okay, we found a white man that unalived a black woman. Okay, and it's wrong and it should have never happened. And there should be accountability. I have no problem with people going and doing content on this. But don't shame black women for it. And don't celebrate it because a black woman lost her life. That is totally evil and unacceptable. And if you're doing it, you need to get mental help. And you need to ask for forgiveness. Okay? whoever black women date, that's their business. Okay? They should not have to lose their life because of some insecure men that weren't picked feeling like they're getting revenge. Okay? All right, let me show you this next story. Okay? Because they're going to call this divestment gone horribly wrong. You hear them out there shouting it in celebration, just loving it that, you know, because she didn't pick the black man, she got what she deserved. They're saying that out there. People are making jokes about her life, about her losing her life. God help us. Anyway.
Murder, as we learned the shocking admission.
Okay, here's another story, okay? Not Tiger Woods. That was a segment before the story. Okay, let's go.
With you, chilling new details in the killing of Coral Springs Vice Mayor Nancy Metayer Brown.
Her husband now charged with her murder, as we learned the shocking admission that he apparently made about a possible motive. Local 10's Roy Ramos is live in Coral Springs today with the very latest. Roy.
Calvin and Nicole, and that person who he allegedly confessed to then went to police. That person telling police that the suspect allegedly told him that he shot and killed his wife because he couldn't take it anymore.
Mr. Bowen, good morning, sir. You're charged with 1 count first-degree premeditated murder. You're also charged with 1 count tampering with or fabricating physical evidence.
No bond for 40-year-old Stephen Bowen, who faced a Broward County judge Thursday, a day after his wife, Coral Springs Vice Mayor Nancy Metayer Bowen, was found dead inside their home.
The court does find probable cause for the charges.
The tragic discovery all came after the vice mayor failed to appear to a commission meeting Wednesday. Police said after text messages were made to her husband by the commission manager as to where she may be, investigators said Bowen responded, texted her. She's not picking up. Where is she? Her car is not at home. Investigators said Bowen confessed to his uncle that he shot his wife because he couldn't take it anymore. His uncle went to investigators, who then made their way inside of the vice mayor's home. It's there she was found wrapped in a blanket and trash bags after being shot and killed.
This is being investigated as a domestic violence incident. Her husband, Stephen Bowen, is in our custody.
While Bowen is accused of the heinous crime, it's the vice mayor being remembered for her public service and contributions to her community.
It's a devastating, loss, not just for Coral Springs, but for the people of Broward County.
She cared about students, she cared about seniors, she cared about the environment, she cared about fairness, she cared about equality, she cared about her culture.
Vice Mayor Metayer Bowen, a leader and a voice for so many. Her sudden death devastating colleagues and community leaders. State Representative Ashley Gant sharing a past text message the two shared with one another that read, "Love you and keep holding the line." Florida Congressman Jared Moskowitz posting on X to say he was just with her Saturday, calling her a fighter and sharing that she was preparing to announce to run for Congress. But it is her family now bearing the weight of her loss, writing in part, "While so many knew her as a leader and advocate, we knew her as a sister, a daughter, and a friend. Her legacy lives on in the lives she touched."
And this tragedy just so devastating for her colleagues, for her family, for her friends, for this community as a whole. For that reason, they plan on holding a candlelight vigil right here outside of City Hall in Coral Springs. That will run from 7 to 8 tomorrow evening, and all of those who plan to attend are encouraged to wear orange and green. For now in Coral Springs, Roy Ramos.
Okay. Now this young lady lost her life because of a domestic violence episode. Now and look, from what you hear from Ashley, Jana, and how people are celebrating and gloating and saying that's what you get when you get with the white man. What if I did the same thing about this young lady? What if I called it, I couldn't call it divestment gone wrong unless I say if she would have divested, she'd still be alive. Okay, what if I said that? People would lose their mind. What if I said race loyalty gone horribly wrong? See, black women, when you stay race loyal, this happens. Now, what if I said that? People would lose their damn mind and try to get me canceled and thrown off here. Now, that young lady does not deserve to lose her life, who she dated or married. Same way when black women open up their options. And if they want to divest, they have a damn good reason to. Okay? Leave black women alone. And quit celebrating them being unalived. This is a sad story. I would never celebrate no crap like this. But you got jokers on the other side. Oh, if they get with the white men, they're happy to see tragedy. They're happy to see black women being unalived. And if white men did, oh my God, they love it. They're so evil and pathetic. What, we can't love on black women unless they're dating who we want them to? Really? I love black women regardless of who they date and marry. And I don't care if this lady said white men are the devil and horrible things her whole life. She still does not deserve to lose her life. But what if I said that? What if I started making shows? Race loyalty gone horribly wrong. See, black women? She got with a black man, and look what happened. That'd be unacceptable, right? So why is it acceptable when black women open up their options and a tragedy happens to make fun of her, to celebrate her being unalived? Where's our humanity? Where's the compassion? Anyway. All right, I got another news story.
We turn to North Charlotte now, where a family is grieving and trying to wrap their minds around a shocking loss. A CMS teaching assistant faced a judge today on charges he shot and killed his wife inside their home. 61-year-old Eddie McCollum is now charged with first-degree murder. And tonight, in a story you'll only see on WCNC Charlotte, Siobhan Riley spoke with the couple's daughter, who says the family's in disbelief.
Davelyn McCollum spoke to us from Utah one day after getting the news that her father, Eddie McCollum, admitted to killing his wife, Tammy McCollum. Documents revealed Eddie called 911 himself.
When you get that call that your mother has been murdered by her husband, what's going through your mind?
I feel like everyone is in such a state of confusion because my father loved my mother dearly. So we're utterly confused.
Authorities say Eddie, who was a teaching assistant at Southwest Middle School, shot and killed his wife during an argument at their North Charlotte home on Cardington Court early Monday morning. CMPD says the shooting was a case of domestic violence.
That wasn't my parents. Their relationship wasn't too much of this. Their relationship wasn't arguments all day, every day over the small things. We're talking about people who've been together for 30 years of their lives.
What do you think made your father snap?
We don't know why. We don't know why. If she were in a situation that she felt like she couldn't get out of, she did her way out of it. She wasn't abused.
Loved ones now reflecting on Tammy's life, a grandmother who loved her grandchildren more than anything and served as one of the pastors at the Well Worship Center in Statesville.
Even as a grown.
Okay, let me stop right there. This woman was a mother, a grandmother, married 30 years. And she was a pastor at a church, right? And all of a sudden, her husband just unalives her. And the kids don't understand why. They thought everything was good. And this is what's really scary. Being married that many years and you want to take out your wife? I can't. But where are the divestment gone wrong crowd? Where are they at? Do they care this happen? Or is it only count when a white guy does it? Do they only, make videos when the white man does it? Do we just get silent on this and pretend it don't happen? Only white men can do, unalive black women. I mean, that just seems what's going on. But what if I did what they're doing? What if I did the same thing that they're doing to Ashley and said, oh, you know what? And I said, race loyalty gone wrong. That'd be unacceptable. But when it's to trash a black woman that open up her options, they feel it's free game. And here's the thing, when a life is lost, it's a tragedy. And I hate when people make this stuff about race. It's really, there are evil people in all races. There are evil men in all races, ladies. Don't think you get with a white man, you're just going to automatically be safe. And don't think if you're race loyal, you're automatically safe either. Okay? If we were true men and we had character, we'd hold all these men accountable. And we wouldn't try to hide it based on race. And we wouldn't celebrate it based on race. I'm just saying. How would that look if I celebrated this? But that's exactly what those divestment gone wrong jokers are doing. And Ashley Janae, I don't think she even was a divester. She opened up her options, but I don't know.
Woman, she's just a girl. She's just a girl. She just likes to do her makeup. She worked at Ulta. She just likes to go hang out with her girls at work. She worked at AT&T in the day.
If you could say one last thing to your mother, what would you want to say to her?
Job well done, my girl. You did a good job. You did a good job. You did a good job. You did a good job.
Tammy McCollum would have turned 59 years old Friday. Her daughter says the next step is to ask her father what led to the death of Tammy, who was loved by so many. Siobhan Riley, WCNC Charlotte.
Okay. All right, sad story again. See, black femicide, it's not just happening in poor neighborhoods, the hood. It happens in middle class areas. It's happening with wealthy people. It's happening with people that have been married for 3 decades. And what causes somebody to take a life like that? I can't understand why a man would take the life of a woman he loves. I just can't comprehend that. That just... Even if she's leaving you, don't want nothing to do with you, yeah, it'll break your heart, but how could you harm someone you love? And plus, you took away the children's mother and grandmother? I don't know. But what's really scary about this whole thing is these stories are coming through this month like crazy. I don't know. And there's more stories. There's people sending me other stories I haven't uploaded of videos. Like I said, I can make this channel a Black Femicide channel where that's all we talk about. And you know what? I could do a show every week. Too easy. I mean, I want my show to be about opening up your options, swirling to investment, doing it doing it the safe way. But yeah, I heard she paid for the trip and all that. I don't know if she did, but it don't matter if she paid everything. The woman's gone. It don't matter if it was fake, and I don't care about that. I don't care if she was pretending to be rich and really wasn't. Who cares? She lost her life. Now, I don't know if that's what it is, but there's no justification for her being unalived. None of these women have a justification to be unalived. And anybody that celebrates a woman losing her life, God help you. You are wrong. You need to get help. And ask for forgiveness. Apologize to the family for even saying crap like that. Where are people's humanity? Okay, now this story's really devastating, because this dude didn't just take out his significant other, his wife, also his own children and somebody else's child. 8 children in all, and two women. But anyway, let me go ahead and play it. I'm going to play this through, guys. You listen, and then I'll talk about it. Then I'll drop the link. If anybody wants to come up and talk about this, you can, okay? My opinion on this is a tragedy. We should all be saddened about it. We should be praying for these women, whether they're with a white man or a black man. We shouldn't... Look, everybody has a right to their preference, and we should not attack them or shame them. Okay? Do I think black women and white men are the best option for each other? Darn right I do. I've experienced that life, and I've studied the data. But I don't hate a black woman if she goes to a black man or another group of men. That's her business. My thing is I want black women to have all the options. I think it'd be safer, too, because you have more men to choose from. Men that do that to women don't love them. They do it out of entitlement to their needs. I've heard. Yeah, that's absolutely right. Those that celebrate women being unalived, they don't love black women. They don't. They only love black women when they're fulfilling their needs and putting them on a pedestal. Okay? And I just think it's disgusting. I don't know why people even... I don't even know why these pro-black creators and get all crazy about black women divested. So what? She don't feel it safe in the black community or with a black man. So what? That's her business. You want her to be punished with having her life lost? I mean, come on. All right, let me show this story, and then I'll drop the link and we'll talk about it if you want to. If not, I know some people probably don't want to talk about this. Some might want to. This is not a happy show. It's not. But it's a necessary show. Okay, we need to talk about this because this is ridiculous.
Situation may be the worst tragic situation we've ever had in Shreveport. And
8 children dead, killed in a Sunday morning mass shooting in Shreveport. Meanwhile, 2 women and a child also shot in the head, now fighting to survive. The suspect steals a car and makes a run across the river.
It all ended with the suspect dead after gunfire in a Bossier City neighborhood.
Live and on your side, this is KTBS 3 News Weekend.
Good evening to you, Arklatex. Welcome to KTBS 3 News Weekend. I'm Madison Edwards.
I'm Daniel Brown. Thank you for joining us. That tragedy in Shreveport's Cedar Grove neighborhood tops our news this evening.
We've got team coverage tonight. Our Riley Curry standing by from the crime scene with the latest on what happened. Meanwhile, Jonathan McCall is standing by to tell us how the situation ended in Bossier Parish. And Brenda Teal will join us with reactions from neighbors in the Cedar Grove community. The incident already drawing international attention, and we've been working all day to keep you up to date with the latest information. Our team coverage begins in Cedar Grove.
Riley Curry has been on the story. She joins us live from the house where the young victims were found on the 300 block near West 79th Street near Linwood Avenue. Riley, what can you tell us?
Well, today is definitely a tragic day in Shreveport. This morning around 6 a.m., Shreveport police found 7 children dead inside of the gray home right behind me. And on the roof, they found another child dead, and all 8 juveniles were shot and killed, spanning from ages 18 months to 14 years old. Police say most of these children were shot in the head. Another child was in the home, and he did escape the gunfire, but he is being treated at a local hospital.
I just don't know what to say. My heart is just taken back. I want to let the community know that all of my resources are out here processing every piece of evidence at every scene, and at some time in the near future we'll be able to give some more conclusive information about exactly what took place.
An adult woman was in the home at the time, and she was shot but escaped to the house next door. While she was in there, she did call Shreveport police. In connection, another adult woman was in a different location in the same neighborhood on Harrison Street. She was shot in the face and is still in critical condition. She is believed to be the mother of some of the victims. A man who claims to be her father, Bulo Mays, was at the scene this morning.
I was just with my grandbabies the other day, and we was having so much fun. And I say for any grandparent out there, be happy. Be happy with your grandkids and have fun with them. I'm just praying that everything will be all right for my daughter. She's in the hospital right now. She's fighting.
In total, there are 11 victims, again, 8 dead and 3 living. The suspect is also dead. He was shot and killed in Bossier by Shreveport police after he fled the scene in a stolen car. SPD believes multiple firearms were used in the crime. Justin, SPD has confirmed that the shooter is named Shamar Elkins. We'll continue to follow this story and bring you more coverage as we learn more. Reporting in Shreveport, I'm Riley Curry, KTBS 3 News.
Thank you, Riley, for that report. We know you've been working all morning on this devastating story.
Sorry, I had my mic muted. Pretty sad story, right? And all the children that were shot didn't make it. 8 innocent children. And 7 were this guy's own children. He had 7 kids. Just unalived them, just like that. But is this divestment gone wrong? Look, these 3 other stories, these black women did not divest. They didn't swirl. They stayed in the black community, and they were unalived. Okay? Now, I'm not going to say, if you go here, you're going... No. But what I'm saying is, if you're going to say that a black woman gets with a white man and white men are doing these evil deeds, unaliving black women, what about when black men do it? Or is there a free pass there? Are we going to ignore it? Because we have to have accountability across the board. Because when you push a narrative and say, well, women that divest get unalived, and just ignore when it happens within the black community and pretend that, they're safer with black men, instead of telling women the truth. And I'm going to show you some stats I picked up and I looked up. Okay? And you can go to the FBI website and you can go and study those statistics. And they do have statistics on homicide. Okay? And you can look up black femicide. Okay? And find out who does it the most. Okay? Now, more important than who does it the most is how do we stop it? And all groups of men have unalived black women. All racial groups, okay? Shows there's evil men in all groups, okay? And for some reason, these pro-black groups cannot, concede, yeah, there's evil in all groups. No, it's the divestors that are causing it, I guess. Okay. Okay, and this is the most current stats. Okay? All right, I read them on the other show. I'm going to read them again. Okay? And if you think I'm lying, go look them up for yourself. Okay? In the United States, the majority of black women unalived, and the reason I'm putting words in place because, guidelines. Black women unalived by men are unaliving by black men, with data indicating that over 90% of black female homicide victims knew their unalivers. And that's true. Most people generally know the people that unalive them. Okay? When the race of the offender is identified in cases where black women is unalived by a male, approximately 90% of the perpetrators are black, while roughly 7% are white or another race, okay? White or Hispanic, Asian, Middle Eastern, Native American, or whatever, okay? But we'll say 7% of white guys do this, okay? Now, with the logic of the divestment gone wrong jokers, okay, they're going to hold the 7% accountable while ignoring the 93%. Does that make that don't make sense? We hold everybody accountable. And this is based on data for 2023 to 2025 regarding victim single offender incidents. Okay, intra-racial, that's the same race crime. Roughly 91% of the homicides of black females in an intra-racial, same race, perpetrated by black male. Okay? Now, there are black women that unalive men, okay? But it's overwhelmingly mostly men that do it, okay? But there's the stats. So really, is it divestment the problem? I mean, and I think people are confused and think divestment is just a woman that interracially dates a white guy. No, it's not. Divestors don't always date and marry white men, okay? So, but there's the stats. I looked it up. You can look it up. Okay? But nobody will talk about that. There ain't even no comparison. And look, black women are mostly with black men, okay? So it's going to happen more. All right? But to act like only white men are doing it and shaming black women and scaring them to stay race loyal, that's being disingenuous. I'm just saying. Now, should we focus on what group of men does it the most? Yeah, we should. So we know the truth. And so we can hold everybody accountable. Okay? So divestors aren't used for a scapegoat all the time. Okay? But I'm telling you, I showed you 4 stories. One was a white guy. Several were black men. Okay? And look, I'm going to be honest, okay? I think black women are the best option in the world. I do. I always have, always will. I'm married to a black woman, been married 32 years. Well, May 19th will be actual 32. I keep saying 32 because I'm so close. Me and Sandy are so close. But I think black women are the best option. Okay? I have 3 biracial children. Okay? 2 married, 1 not. Okay? Now, and I'm going to be brutally honest. Okay? And I don't think one race is better than the other. I never thought that. I don't think white men are better than other groups of men. No. But I'm going to be honest. From what I've seen and the data I see, if my daughters were with a black man, I'd be very cautious. I would be afraid because of what I'm seeing, okay? You say, but Roadrunner, there's good black men out there. Yeah, look at the marriage rates, okay? I don't want my daughters to be single mothers. I don't want my daughters to carry men, okay? So I would kind of cringe. Now if, what's that guy's name? If like a Ben Carson came to the door, hey, welcome to the family. But what's the chance of getting that? Okay? And I'm being honest. Because what I seen, because of the culture, because of the marriage rates, because I see, when I look at the data, over 72% of black children born out of wedlock. The biggest group of single mothers is black women. And I don't want my daughters to be a single mother. Sorry. Okay? Now, for my son, I told him, go get a black woman. Go find a black woman and marry her. Find one that loves you. If you want a good marriage and a woman that loves you, go find a black woman. And you're saying, why are you like that, Roadrunner? How about just any race if they're a good person? Well, great if they're a good person. But when I look at the data, what's the chances? I mean, but I mean, it's up to them when they grow up who they marry. But I'm just, I want my children to be in marriages with good people that are going to love them and take care of them. Okay? But I'm just saying. Okay? And I know I'm going to get hate for this. My enemies are, see, he don't like black men. He don't want his daughters to be with one. Yeah, if it's like Ben Carson, I'd welcome it. But am I going to get that, or am I going to get Tyrone from the block that wants to pimp and play. I don't want my daughters being played. Sorry. But they're already married, so don't have to worry about that. But honestly, it's the truth. And it's not because I hate them. Look, I got black men that are friends and, and I served with the military. I'd take a bullet for. But when it comes to dating, I'm unsure. Because of what I see. Because of the attitude. Because of marriage just being a piece of paper. But anyway, okay? But I'm not going to hide it. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. And I believe black women are better off with white men or non-black men. Statistically. And from what I've seen. Okay? And ladies, don't be afraid to divest. Do it in stealth mode because you're going to be hated and might even be attacked. It's sad you can't just be with a man you want to be with. But anyway. All right. But I think I said enough on that. But anyway, my son, I told him, I said, go get you a black wife. Anyway. Oh, hey, Shelly. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Can you hear me good?
Yeah, I can hear you really good. Is there any echo or anything?
No, not today.
Not today, good. I think it was my microphone. I adjusted the settings. This is truly a sad thing. We're seeing stories about black women being unalived, okay? And it's sad. And, and there's a false narrative being pushed. Now, I know there's evil white men that have unalived black women. It happens. Okay, and they should be held accountable. Okay, nobody should get a free pass on this. You take a life, you forfeit yours. That's what I believe. Okay, if you, but what bothers me about this whole thing is the fact that black women are being unalived. But what also bothers me is it's like people don't care or they're happy if it's with a certain man, okay? Because Ashley Janae, they've been going crazy talking about this and trying to use it to attack divestors or women that date out. And what I'm saying is like, wait a minute, it's not just a white man doing it, there's black men doing it too, and at a much higher rate. So are we going to hold 7% accountable and not talk about the 93%? Or are we going to hold all men accountable that do this? Anyway.
But that's basically what the black community is, though. Even when you look at when they kept on putting stories about unarmed black men that were getting pop out, the white officer, male, the white male officer, those were the one that made the news more, and those are the stories that went viral. So it's not something that is shocking to me and new to me, because that's what the black community does. There is no accountability or interception. I hope I'm saying the word. There's no self-accountability. It's always somebody else's fault why something happens, right? So this is not far-fetched. Anybody that lives in the community knows this. It's always the white man. They would take each other out at 95%, 98%, and nothing. Black Lives Matter is not there, right? And this is why people took Black Lives Matter as a joke. Okay, so this doesn't surprise me. Now, what did surprise me, though, I'm going to tell you, Brent, is the amount of Black women that I saw online that made videos and was like, how come y'all never say anything about when Black women, oops, when I'm sorry, yeah, when Black women are unalived by Black men, y'all never say anything about that. So there was a lot of pushback, and I was shocked because this wasn't like this about, like, I would go back to say 3 years ago. This is a new phenomenon. And you would even have Black women come out and say, listen, hey, I'm gonna still date men for their character. I'm not gonna just date Black men. So you had a lot of pushback. I mean, I was shedding a tear. I'm like, wait a minute now, because I was like really giving up on Black women, but this really opened up my eyes that there are a lot of Black women eyes that are open, and I know for a fact it's because of, certain channels online. The Chrissies, the Cynthia G's, the Pink Pills, and amongst others that was like, hey, listen, y'all are out there muling for a group of men that do not love you, that do not value you. They place all other women above y'all. It's y'all are practicing limerence. These men don't care. So you still have your mammies out there, the Black male worshipers out there, but you even have some Black woman that that came on. I'm not going to mention her name because she is no ally to Black women, but there was a young Black woman that was on there saying, listen, Black men do not protect Black women, and Black women would say all the time, I don't want nobody but a Black man, but Black men never say, I don't want nothing but a Black woman. And I mean, Black women would say, I'm holding out for a Black man, but Black men never say that. So they are they are waking up, and I'm happy about that. That's what I was seeing. You understand what I'm saying? And not only that, I sent you a couple of videos. I don't know if I sent you that, where there were Black men that I'm sorry, white men that actually had came out, and they were celebrating and telling people why they love Black women, right? And there were there were videos of Black men saying, hey, white men, stay away from our woman. Like, I don't know if I sent it to you, but I was like, look how the tables have turned, because 10 years ago, even 6 years ago, it wasn't like this. But you really have Black men coming over here. No, the white man is coming in, and like he's a savior, and actually blaming the white man and not holding Black men accountable for saying all the harsh and vile things that they said. And one Black man was like, you see how the white man is coming in, and they don't love Black women for real. They don't love Black women for real. But you see how they're treacherous and sneaky. I'm not saying that Black men is right to say that, but they're only doing that because Black men is saying what they were saying. And so now they're taking Black women. And I love that, because what I told you a couple years ago, I think maybe 3 years ago, was that Black women are a resource. And if you take away the resource from Black men, and that's why Black men did not want Black women to divest, right? And even though divestment is not only about dating white men, it's about the mentality to get away from the toxicity of the community. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's more than that, but whatever, right? Um, But I'm seeing a lot of Black men now is telling white men to leave Black women alone, and this is why they're heavily pushing this narrative. Like, if you go to white man, you're gonna get a wife, because and you have a lot of Black women that say, no, it's y'all that's killing us. Cynthia G just made a video, a 3-hour live. Like, nah, you ain't gonna come up here with that. It's not white men that's killing us. I mean, I'm sorry. And another Black woman even came up and said, to be honest, Black women are safer with white men. Black women are safer around Black men. And she used to be black love and the black community and whatever, whatever, until she was involved in a powwow. Okay, and I'm gonna say one. Damn, but I forgot what I was gonna say because I actually have to go. Um, if I remember, I was something I had to say, but if I remember, I'm gonna definitely put it in the chat. Yeah, but a lot of black women, Brent, are waking up, and I am shocked. That is what's shocking to me, not the whole, blaming white men for, unaliving black women, but a lot of black women came out and was pushing back. You might not have seen it, but they were out there. You understand? Like I said, I almost cried.
Yeah, well, I've been seeing it. I mean, I've been seeing it through the years. I mean, I've been seeing a change. Um, back in the day when I was dating, and we'd have to go back to the mid '80s, '85. I was 16, right, and I opened up my options right out the gate, and there was a different mentality. Um, Black women were a lot more race loyal then than now, of course. But you could date black women, and the thing of it is, but they weren't vocal about opening up their options, or there were some that were, but it wasn't as big. You could see like kind of the birth of divestment, which they didn't call it that, but there were black women back in the day that were wanted to just date white men or other non-black men. And once you start dating black women I started learning these things. And it was small groups. It wasn't nothing big. But through the years, I've been seeing it open up more and more. And, and now they can't push a narrative that it's white men doing all the unaliving. Now we got stats out there. We got the internet. We can research, within a matter of minutes. Before, you have to go to the library and get newspaper clippings and, try to research that way. But now you can do it on your smartphone. You can go Google the stuff and then go to the studies. You could go to the U.S. Census data. You could go to the FBI data online and find out how many people are doing this and that. And I think people are starting to see the truth. And I think black men have had it so good for so long that I think they got comfortable and took black women for granted. And now that some black women are opening up their options and going elsewhere, they're upset. They are pissed. And I think it's because they've had it so good. They were told they're the best, most desired, they're this and that. And the white man's just evil by nature. And, and black women are finding out, wait a minute. These white men ain't like that. And, yeah, there's evil white men out there, but there's evil black men too. And you can't hide it. And the thing that happened, which was crazy, is when they went on Ashley Janae and went full all out, then all these other news stories started surfacing, and it wasn't more white guys doing these evil deeds. And the thing of it is, I don't like to see black women unalived or harmed. I don't like to see any women, any group of women harmed. Okay, we should protect women. We should not hit women or abuse them. We're as men, we're supposed to protect women, provide for them, protect them, love them, make sure they're safe, healthy, and happy. We're not, but unfortunately, there's evil men out there, and and we got to correct this black femicide. How do we fix it? I think first we fix it with the truth. Okay, and I think black women opening up their options will be better for black women. They'll have a bigger pool to choose from. And I think it'll make black men better when they find out that they don't automatically have black women. They'll have to compete, improve themselves. And I think what makes our marriages more successful is us white men, we got to prove ourselves. You know, we really do, and we should, but all men should have to do it. You know, but this narrative that, you know, you get a white man and he's going to do horrible things to you, but you're safe with the black man, that's a lie. And people are seeing the truth. The truth will surface. You can't hide the truth forever. It's going to rise. It's going to surface. And we're going to see it. Okay? And with that being said, there are good and bad in all groups. Okay? And like I say, I don't think white men are superior by no means. Some people think that I want white men to have all races of women. No. I want black women to have whatever they want. Okay? And if it's white men, and that great. If it's other men, great. Okay? You got to get the best option. Is it the white man? Well, it's up to you to decide that. Okay? Whatever group you're in, you got to find the good man in the group. Okay?
Yeah, and I agree with you when you said that in how do we stop the high femicide? And what you said is absolutely correct. You have to tell the truth, and a lot of black women do not want to because I read the comments. I remember what I was gonna say now. Okay, so I'm gonna talk about how to stop femicide, and I'm gonna go back to my previous story. I remember what I was trying to say. So a lot of black women do not want to tell the truth because they fear that by them telling the truth about that, who's hurting them is because they give birth to black men. And I had this discussion with a coworker of mine one night about why she didn't feel offended. I forgot, was it Jay Fox that went on stage and um took a black woman's weave off her head? I think so. And the whole audience who was all black laughed. But when that Indian guy took the weave off a black woman, it was an uproar in the community. Like I said, they don't do inward reflection or whatever, or the introspect, I can't say the word, but they don't do the necessary job to hold themselves accountable. This is always external. And I said to her, I said, did you find what this person did offensive? And she said no. And I said, why not? And she said, because the Indian guy was doing it for mockery. I said, well, what was this black man doing? Wasn't he doing it for mockery? And she goes, no. I said, well, why not? You took off the wig, I'm sorry, off of a black woman's head in front of, it had to be the hundreds of people. And they all, nobody said, hey, black man, that's not cool. Nobody held them accountable. Right? But y'all want to hold this man, this Indian man, accountable to the point that he lost his job. Now, I think that he should have held accountable, but I'm just like, why aren't you upset that this black man did? That's a man that looks like you. I was more upset at the black man for doing it than I was for the Indian man. And I said, well, why don't why do you think like that? And she's like, oh, I said, why y'all don't never say anything about black men when they do wrong things to y'all? And she turned to me and she said, because we give birth to them. I said, but that's not an excuse. So a lot of time black women do not want to hold black men accountable because they feel like, and even though the femicide rate is high, people are saying it's even higher because black women do not call the cops on black men because they feel like white supremacy is going to get them. They feel like, they're going to get pow-powed. So they don't, it's not just black men, not holding themselves accountable. Black women are not holding black men accountable either. And that's what I keep on saying on your show, that black women enable this behavior. Black women need to stop going on these podcasts. Okay? Black women, it's 2026. And if y'all hear my voice, black women, please stop going on these black men podcasts. Please stop discussing why black men date white women, why black women are having a hard time dating. Y'all are having a hard time dating because y'all are just set on black men. Okay, but like I said, but like you were saying, it's going to be an avalanche effect. You know what I'm saying? Because what I saw this past week, people was like, hey, why aren't y'all reporting about this story about the black man and the 8 black children? Y'all was talking about this, talk about that. You understand? Talk about this. So they're sending these people videos and saying, hey, y'all are not talking about this story. Y'all are hypocrites. And even some black women that they're like, listen, I don't believe in the divesting, whatever, but another content creator said, hey, listen, y'all only care when it's a white man that does this to black women. Y'all really don't care for real. You understand? So really quick, and then I gotta go. So on the video where the white men were talking about how much they love black women and how much they respect them, and the black man was upset, there were people in the black men in the comments was like, but why is it that when white men do it, it's accepted, but when black men do it, it's not accepted? It's like a double standard. And you saw a black woman in the comments like, sir, when you didn't hear white men disparage white women in the video. They only talk about why they loved their black girlfriends, their black wives, or why they found black women attractive. Y'all didn't hear anything they said about white women. It was not centered around white women. It was centered around black women. And that's what these black men are not understanding. It's not, I don't know if it's not a double standard. Is that because y'all always put black women down to lift white women up, instead of y'all just focus on why y'all date white women and just focus on why y'all love them? Y'all include black women. And there was a video circling around about 5 years ago where a black man came online and said, hey, I have a challenge. Black men, why do y'all date non-black women, but y'all can't bring up black women? And it only had like 5 replies because they couldn't do it. So that is the difference, and that's what black woman was saying in the chat. Like, no, it is a difference because they didn't feel the need to disrespect their own race, right? And somebody even and of course it was a mammy, was like, oh, well, y'all got to be careful, sis, because all that glitters is not gold. So I commented, I said, wait a minute, would you have made this comment if it was black men saying this about black women? Would you feel the need to warn them and say, hey, all that glitters is not gold or whatever? No. So shut up. We divestors always say to vet the men. Like they don't know what true divestment is. Okay, I listen to divestment channels and they always talk about vetting the men. You understand what I'm saying? Just don't look at the man because he's white. They have different names, Chad, Brad, and stuff like that. We don't want the W Iggers. Like, we don't want those types. So they tell us like what to look out for also. So they don't understand true divestment. So, but then again, I'm just happy that black women are waking up. But oh, and one more thing before I gotta go. Also, this notion that white men cannot love black women. There was 4 black women that did a panel, and they was talking about how they don't feel like white men could really love black women though, when it's all a fetish. And it was so interesting because one of the black women, because it was like, yeah, girl, stay away from these people. And there was one black woman in the corner said, you know what? Truthfully, I'm going to be honest. All the black women I know that is with their white husbands, their white husbands really love them. They dote on them. But there's always a but. And every time, and I was telling black women too, every time a non-black man give you a compliment, it's not always a fetish. Because I was even explaining to one black woman, I said, would you have been offended if a black man came up to you, because she don't like the word chocolate, because it irritates her. It's like, I'm not a food. And it's the white man fetish me, the dark skinned woman, of course. So I said, if a black man came to you and said, oh my God, hey, beautiful chocolate, would you have been offended? She says, no. I said, why not? She said, because that's a black man, so he understands. And she was trying to explain to me about slavery. I said, no. I said, you're not offended by the word chocolate. You're just offended by who's saying it. So if you're not offended by black men saying it, then you shouldn't be offended by white men saying it because it's the same word. You understand? And if you truly didn't like something, when a black man has said, "Hey, sexy chocolate," you would have got mad as well. Because when black men was talking about they rather a yellow bone or a red bone, yeah, I don't get upset about that. But wouldn't that be a fetish? But it's only fetish when it's a non-black man. I said, y'all need to get yourselves together. But that being said, I have to go. I'm gonna be still listening, but I have to go. But again, Brent, thank you for I know I'm going on and on, but thank you for this show because I think you are all. I didn't mention your name, but I'm gonna mention your name and say channel like yours. You are doing a good service because black women are coming over here and they're getting loved on the correct way. And like you have always said, you to vet these men just because they're white, they have, bad white men out there. Okay. I've listened to you for about 5 years and you have always specified saying that, okay? And you have always uplifted black women, and I love you for that. When I need me a pick me up when I'm feeling low, I always come back and rewatch your videos. And I tell black women about you all the time, to watch your videos about you and Sandy and how you truly love and value Sandy, and how you always, you always, always lift her up and tell us how you love her. And I see the love, you know what I'm saying? And, if I do get married, I would want a love and a marriage and respect from my husband, like you show Sandy. So I just want to say thank you again, and just, God bless you. And yeah, just thank you for everything that you're doing.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Um, yeah, I appreciate that. I do. And thank you for coming up. I always love talking to you. Um, but the thing I found out in my life is how. Oh, she left. Okay. I thank you, Shelly, for coming up. It's always good talking to you. Um, I'm not going to stay too much longer, guys. Tonight's show, I just want to point out that black femicide's a real thing. And, we got to tell the whole truth, not just parts of it that make us feel better. Okay, are there white men that commit black femicide? Yes. Okay, but we can't pretend black men don't do it. I mean, and the thing of it is fixing the problem. First, the best way to strategically attack the problem is tell the truth. And, and maybe, I don't know if making a law will change things. Maybe we'll make a black femicide law. You take a black woman's life, you automatically lose yours. No ifs, ands, or buts. But we got to be better as men to fix this. This is men's fault. Black femicide is men's fault. Okay, we can't get around it. And there's no excuse. Okay, you can't say, well, the guy had a rough life and she left him. That don't give you the right to unalive somebody because they don't want to be with you no more. Okay, it don't matter if it's your girlfriend or your wife of 50 years. If she's done with you, you don't have the right to take her life. Okay, you don't. And if it goes the other way, you don't have the right to take his life either. But my thing is we got to tell the truth. And this celebrating and gloating, okay, these dudes need to check themselves. They need to quit hating black women and divestors. Okay, they need to get some mental health, get some help, get some professional help. and find out where this hatred comes from. Okay? There are women that ain't going to pick you guys. There are some black women that are not going to be with, that are going to think black men ain't ish. And that's their right. There are white women don't like white men, so why? That's their right to do that. Why would we hate somebody because they have a preference? Everybody has a right to have their preference, whatever that is. And instead of bashing them for their preference, how about we love them as human beings and and try to stop this problem? Okay? And going and being race loyal ain't going to fix it. It's going to make it worse. Okay? Some black women need to open up their options. Okay? So, some of us human beings are meant to be with someone outside of our group. Okay? And that's okay. The world's changing. Okay? And we need to get out of that race loyal crap and get into character loyal. Okay? Who's going to treat you better? Who's going to be there for you? Who's the best option? I could say black women are the best option based on my life experience, based on my marriage, and my dating before. And when I look at the stats, it validates everything I say. Nobody can argue with me that black women aren't the best option. They are. Well, they don't date. They mostly date and marry black men. Yeah, that's true. But they're still the best option. It don't matter how many black women liked me back in the day. I always knew that black women were the best option. Based on their love, their loyalty, and their character. No other woman has a big heart like a black woman. No other woman has character like a black woman. No one is more loyal than a... Look. And I know there are some evil black women out there, just like every other group, but for the majority, black women are the best option. You find one that loves you, you're set. And I even look, I love black women so much, I tell my son that. Because I know how big of a heart black women have. I know that they're loving. And if they love you, and you're a good man, you are set. But too many times, we don't see that hidden treasure. Too many times, we don't get to know black women because we listen to gobbledygoo on the internet and think, oh, black women are like that pro-black women that say they hate white men. Think, wow, they don't like us. That ain't true. That's certain ones aren't going to like you, like any other group. So what? But anyway, but black femicide is a real thing, and we can't just ignore it, okay? And we can't just show it when it happens to when one group of men are doing it. We got to tell the truth, the whole truth. Nothing but the truth. Okay? Telling half truths is telling a lie. When you tell something from one side and leave out everything else, you're telling a lie. And that's my whole point of this show. None of these black women deserve to be unalived. Okay? And it's none of our business who they choose to date, who they choose to marry. Okay? We could give our opinion what we think's the best option. And I do. But I don't hate black women that decide what I'm saying is, not the path for them. And that's fine. But I just tell some truth because there's so much bashing on black women and so much hatred and bashing on interracial relationships, telling lies and half-truths. It's only right that we can stand up for ourselves. I have every right to stand up for black women and white men in relationships, okay? I'm not going to protect a black man, or, well, not a black man, not a white man. I'm not going to protect a white man that harms a black woman. I'm not. That's totally ridiculous and stupid. But anyway, but what we need to do, ladies, be careful. Okay? If you're going to open up your options, that's great. But be careful. Have your standards. Just know there are evil men in every group, okay? If you're going to stay race loyal, same thing. Just know there are evil in every group, okay? And that's your business. I have never, kicked somebody off my platform because they have a preference for a black man. I don't do that, okay? But don't come on my channel trying to derail my show, okay? Because then I will kick you off. But hey, I had one woman I was doing a show with lots of times, and I thought, well, there's something different about her, but she really wasn't into white men. But she kind of pretended, but I could see right through it. And that's okay. And I said, you're in the black men. You're not a swirler or a divester. I know. And she told me, she said, you know what? I'm not. And said, are you mad at me? No, that's your business. But, but my channel is about swirl to investment. So if you're for black love, this probably ain't the channel for you. Okay, you can watch. You're welcome to watch. You can do comments as long as they're respectful. But if you're not down with the swirl to investment, if you're not a divester, you don't have to be a divester. But a lot of people here are divestors. Okay, and I support divestment 1,000%. Okay, but my thing is, this channel is about swirl to investment, interracial relationships between black women and non-black men. Okay, that's what I promote. Now, I want every marriage and every relationship to work. Okay, don't get me wrong. I don't rejoice when I see a black couple have a bad relationship. That does not make me happy. That does nothing. Okay, I want to see everybody have a good marriage. Our nation would be better if we did. Our children would be better off. Okay, so, but I'm going to put out the truth, and I'm not going to hold back. I'm pretty respectful, but I'm going to tell the truth. I'm not going to act like, white men are the only ones doing this. But they need to be called out when they do and held accountable. Okay? Accountability's for everybody. All right? You don't help men by giving them an excuse. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the show. It was sad. All I would ask is you pray for the women and their families. Okay? Because a lot of families are heartbroken tonight. Just think 8 kids just passed away because some guy went crazy. That's sad. And I think the women are survived, but can you imagine? You get shot and all your children are gone. Talk about the heartbreak. But we need to do better as a community, as a society, as a nation. Okay? In my opinion, we need to get out of our segregated mindset. Okay? We need to go for the best option when it comes to love and marriage. And not worry about skin tones. That's, and I did that. And I've been blessed. I got a good marriage. I got good kids, good grandkids. I'm blessed. But I worry about them because I see this stuff on the news. You know, people getting unalived, and it's not just it's not just domestic violence. The other night I talked about a woman that got unalived at a drive-through at Steak and Shake over onion rings. So you never know. But anyway, we need to pray, and you know, we should just. I would just ask, pray for the families. Okay, there are a lot of mothers and fathers with broken hearts. Okay, and children that lost their mother. That should never happen. It should never happen. Whoever you date, whoever you're married, you should not have your life taken from you. And people need to check themselves. Quit celebrating when a woman's unalived. Get out of your ego. Stop it. Anyway, you guys have a good night. Let me just say a prayer before I go. Lord, thank you so much for this show tonight, Lord. Thank you for Shelly coming up and having a discussion, Lord. And I pray that you would humble us as a nation, especially us men, Lord. I pray that you would get a hold of our hearts as men, all groups of men, Lord. Please reach our heart. Humble us. Make us realize the error in our ways to where we can protect the women in our lives. Our mothers, our wives, our daughters, Lord, please. You know, of course we want to protect our sons and too, but we need to focus on protecting women, Lord. Please give us the wisdom and strength to hold other men accountable, regardless of their race. Us as men, it's our duty to provide and protect. And Lord, I pray that you give us the strength to do that, the courage, the desire to want to do better, to love the women in our lives, and protect them in every way we can, Lord. I pray that you help us do better, be better, and give the women in our lives a better life. In Jesus' name I pray, amen. Thank you guys so much. You know, we need to do better as men. I would say right now, and I can't sugarcoat it, this femicide, you know, we can blame women, but it's our fault as men because we do it and we don't hold others accountable, and that needs to stop. It's got to stop with us. First, we tell the truth. Us as men, we do better. And I believe this. There is a God out there, and he don't like seeing black women being unalived or abused. And I'm telling you, those of you that harm black women in any way, you're going to be held accountable. And if you're doing it, you better stop it now, and you better ask for forgiveness and get the help you need. Because too many women are being unalived, and it's ridiculous. It's stupid. Anyway. But I hope you guys enjoyed the show. But just pray for the families, okay? Ladies, you know, just be cautious. Be careful out there. You know. And don't be afraid to date and stuff. Just be smart about it, okay? Just know there's always a risk, okay? And just know, regardless of the man's skin tone or whatever he is, there's evil in every group. There's also good, too, okay? But have your standards. Vet, okay? Date like your life depended on it. Seriously. And men do the same thing, because there are evil women that, You know, sometimes we'll unalive you. Okay, we've seen stories like that. It don't happen as much, but we need to do better as men. Okay? And I'm not just going to point the finger at black men. Us white men need to do better too. Hispanic men. Asian. We got to do better. Okay? I'll see you guys Saturday. I'll be doing a show Saturday. I'm going to look for a more upbeat topic. Okay, I really don't like talking about black femicide, but we need to. This is much needed. Okay? And I will talk about it. Okay? But I want to talk about happy, upbeat things too. And we'll do that too. Okay? But you guys have a good night. God bless you and your families. And ladies, black women, you are amazing. You are the most beautiful. Not just physically, but mentally and emotionally. Okay? You're beautiful from the inside and the outside. Okay? And make sure you have your standards. Okay? But have a good night. God bless you and your families. And I'll see you Saturday. Have a good night.